On today's show, the guys contemplate what school is going to look like when things fire back up in the fall. We've got an East Initiative update, all that and more up next on EduTechGuys. You're listening to the EduTechGuys, EduTechGuys.com. Hello and welcome to EduTechGuys. I'm David Henderson.
Hey, I'm Jeff Madlock.
Yeah, welcome to the show. So glad you're here.
Yeah, it's going to be a great show today. It's a quick one. We're still under, I don't know, are we under lockdown anymore? I'm quarantined. I don't know what that means.
I think it's, well, in Arkansas, we've never really been under a quarantine. We've been under kind of the self-contained, self-stay-at-home kind of thing. But, we've never been really forced to stay home.
Well, somebody was forcing me to stay home. I don't know. Oh, wait, it was my wife. That's what.
Yeah, no, that's a whole different story.
Yeah, people are like, yeah, sure, your wife was making you stay home. You, Jeff, you dirty mouth liar.
Well, it's funny. I don't know how it is at your place, but at my house, my wife hasn't gone to the store since the Friday the 13th this all started. Anytime we've got to go out shopping and stuff, she sends me with the list of stuff. She's like, you go out there and risk your own life, dadgummit.
I've done the same thing, but I like to risk my life. I was telling one of my former students who got this really cool mask. Everybody's been ordering these cool masks, right? And he got this cool mask in. And I remember him back when he was in high school and even younger. He was a big Power Rangers fan. All the kids loved Power Rangers and ninjas and all that. And I said, dude, you look like a ninja or a Power Ranger. You've been preparing for this for your whole life.
Exactly.
I mean, let's be honest. Anybody that's been a kid from 1980 till now, I'm sorry, you know what I'm saying. Yeah, Jeff, they were kids, that's for sure. But we've all been training to be ninjas our entire lives.
Yes, that's right.
Especially the boys. The boys have all been training to be ninjas. So when they say, wait, I can wear a black mask into a bank. Oh, I'm in. Give it to me. With sunglasses and a black skull cap, I am a ninja. Oh, my gosh. Hey, listen, we need to clean up on aisle 4 in the bread section. Ninjas done tore up half the aisle.
We got croutons on aisle 7.
I mean, think about if this had happened, back in the fall, let's say this happened on Black Friday and somebody showed up in a black mask and sunglasses and a black ski toboggan at any store in the United States, they would have had security following them around with guns drawn. I mean, you know what I mean? And now all of a sudden it's like, sure, you can show up with a camouflage, rebel flag wrapped around your face, mirror sunglasses. We can't tell who you are.
Yeah, exactly. That's like that whole thing. There was a meme out that said, something along the lines of, it's crazy to me that I can walk into the bank with a mask on and a cap and dark glasses and demand money and they have to give it to me.
Exactly.
I have an account.
But I guess we're going to have to get used to that. I mean, I find myself wearing a mask everywhere at this point. And I mean, it's like, I don't want to err on the side of not doing what I'm supposed to do. Now I see lots of people not wearing masks, but then I see a lot of people wearing masks. So I'm like, well, which way would be better? I don't know what to do. I mean, I guess at this point, I'd rather somebody make fun of me for having a mask on than to upset someone that has a high risk rate, of getting this, being upset that I don't have a mask on. That makes sense. Well, I don't want to be clamped into that group. So,
well, and for me, I don't even look at it necessarily in terms of, them making fun of me. And honestly, at this point, I don't think, and maybe it's just my personal experience, during all this, but, before this, that was definitely a thing. I mean, especially you'd see certain people wearing masks and all that before this, and people would be like, scoffing at them, whatever. Now, it's not normal yet, but I think people get it. For me, I don't wear the mask because I feel like I'm going to give something to somebody else. I wear the mask because I don't want to, or I'm trying to anyway, cut down on the possibility that I could get it, carry it, and give it to somebody else. I mean,
Right.
my mother-in-law's diabetic, so she's in the high risk category. My mother is in the high risk category for her age and also, some of her health issues. And my father-in-law and they all live right here. We all live on the same compound. So, I mean, for me, that's the reason why when I go to a store, I put the mask on. It's not for me per se. It is so that it's for them, really, is what it boils down to.
Well, I'm in the high risk category, and so
that's true.
I think it's in my brain a lot that you should take any precautions you can. But I have to say, hearing you say I wear the mask because you're Batman, but
Batman, I wear the mask. Because I'm Deadpool.
Hey, don't forget to visit Deadpool and Batman on the web at www.edutechguys.com. We're always out there. Just go to the Google, type in EduTech Guys. You're going to find us. And if you're looking for a little bit more, check out our new parent company, which is amalgamatedtoast.com. amalgamatedtoast.com. You can figure out how to spell it. Now, I'll spell it at the end of the show when I have it in front of me that I can read it out. That's terrible, isn't it?
Well, it is a little complicated.
we put the education in amalgamated, let me tell you.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, exactly.
But that's our parent company now, and they're hosting. They're actually in charge of our podcast and another podcast, The Troubadour Life, and some other ones coming down the chain as the year moves forward. But today on the show, we thought we would take a moment to talk about what's going to happen, what's going to go down when we go back to school in the fall, as they say. And, my district has started to talk about it, and we kind of have broken it into three possibilities. And that would be, one, we go back to school like normal and we move forward in the new normal at school with classrooms and the whole bit. Two, we go back to a hybrid model, something where maybe we don't have as many kids there every day, a lot more online learning to, supplement that to keep us, safer. New ways to do band and football and all that kind of good stuff. And then the third way would be we don't go back to school like we know it. We just stay in this online universe where we're teaching everything remotely and social distancing ourselves. I don't know. What do you think, David? You're at the educational co-op. What are you seeing out there?
Well, I honestly, I think the last point is probably the easiest point to address, at least from my perspective, because I don't believe we are going to just not come back to school and be completely 100% online come August or whenever it is they decide to fire up school. I don't believe that is going to be a scenario, partly because as long as people continue to do what they're supposed to, I think by then we'll have a lot more of what and I hate using this phrase, but it is what it is, what the new normal looks like in terms of what does social distancing look like in the long term. Will the kids have to wear masks? Will there be gloves? Will there be, that type of thing? I think by the time August rolls around, we got several months before that happens. When all this first started, of course, we were in the, denial, laugh it off mode. And then when it, when it finally turned and everybody went, oh, crud. Okay. This is something that we need to be paying attention to. We were pretty much in panic mode and let's, just figure out how to get as many folks as we can, treated and saved and figure out, what's working, what's not working, all that kind of stuff. I think by the time August rolls around, a lot of that is going to be figured out. And so I don't believe we will be in a situation where it will be online only. So at least from my perspective, I think we could probably rule that one out. I don't know.
Yeah,
what do you think?
I think that's true. I think unless something catastrophic happens, unless we've all been wrong and the governors were all wrong and the scientists and the doctors were all wrong and we rejoined the herd too soon, and that's just, to me, that's a low percentage chance right there. There's a lot of people way smarter than all of us that this is what they do and they've made these decisions and we just have to trust them. Along that same line, I have to those that listen, I can name names if I had to, but for those that listen, they could also just be leading us all by the nose to run off the cliff with the rest of them. Right. But who knows? So,
That's right.
But one thing what we've been talking about for sure is this going back to school and this modified, hybrid version of going back to school. Either way, online learning is going to play a huge part in that. Either way it goes. We can't just go back to normal school now, having dipped our toe in and drank from the cup of digital learning. It's not going to happen.
I hope it doesn't happen. Let me put it that way.
Me too.
It would be a complete, I'm going to sound stupidly dramatic, but seriously, it would be a complete travesty if at the end of this, schools just basically pretend like it never existed and go back to teaching students the way we've always been teaching students. That is ludicrous. Yeah.
I will make a statement here, and I think I will probably stand behind it. If that actually does happen, then that will be the beginning of the end of my career in education, because I will have lost what I shouldn't say what little, but
go for it.
I will. Yeah. I will, it will break my heart. I will realize at that point that, Jeff, 30 years of your life, on the hamster wheel, And I think a lot of educators would feel that same way. I've been on a hamster wheel this whole time and I never knew it. They kept changing the picture in front of me and I never knew it. I just kept running, flat out running.
That's right.
But, luckily, my superintendent, my district is looking at that. They realize that, okay, we've got to figure out, because we are smart enough to realize that we're going to go back to school August 1st and we're going to be in class and we're going to do this thing. But this thing is always going to hang over us. And there could always be a chance we could find ourselves right back in this spot again. And the next time we find ourselves in this spot, we need to be, 10 times better than we are this time. Because I have to say, a lot of schools did a great job. Most schools, almost every school has done a great job of handling what happened to this entire country. You got to give them credit for that. But if we had known about this before this was coming, we would have been more prepared. And I hope that that's what happens, that if we go back, then that won't break my heart. If we go back to, we're feeding them, we're busing them, and we're sending them home, and they're all here. We got attendance. Is the money right? All right. We're having school. We're having school. If that happens, I'll be pretty disappointed. But I think the online learning bit is going to be a big deal. Now, if we can just get past all the Ron Popeils out there, and I shouldn't say Ron Popeils, all the K-Tel, best of the 70s records, and, this is the new Juice Master 7000 that's going to teach your kids to read and, 5 easy steps. We can't promise anything. We're not going to give you an end result, but we're going to tell you that if you use this and color with the green pencil, you're going to be great. If that takes over, I'll be pretty disappointed in that also.
Yeah, I think a couple of big, and what's funny is a lot of this stuff we've been talking about. Holy crud, for
a
decades,
long time.
right?
You and I have been talking about
but this should definitely be a wake up call for the movement toward competency-based assessment and progression versus, you're, this age now. Well, that means you're in this grade now. And, you've managed to survive for 180 days in this particular grade. So guess what? You get to get promoted to the next one. No, I think if anything, all of this should show that it's not about, and I don't mean just, students either. I'm talking about even, professional learning for those who are teaching the students. We're talking about PD and the whole 9 yards. This whole, hours in the chair is ridiculous. It makes no sense, especially during all of this and what we've seen during this whole, epidemic. That model has got to change. And if we go back to school in the fall and by October, things are still, falling back into the same position that they are before or were before all of this started, I'm with you. That is the beginning of the end of at least this side of education, as far as I'm concerned, for my career. There's just no point.
Yeah, I agree. And what's interesting is I think that I look at the hybrid model when they started talking about that, and I have to give my superintendent credit for that. He said, "What about a hybrid model?" He's might not be the first person that said that, but I like that term, a hybrid model of education. And when I think about that, I think about something. If you do a job that is not, it's not a crucial job. I mean, if I'm feeding chickens and I just have to make sure I pour feed into this trough and then it spreads it out everywhere for the chickens, that's one thing. But if I have to go, listen, you have to do this exactly right, and you have to give exactly 4 ounces of food to every chicken or they're going to die. Okay, well, that's more important. Now, I'm not relegating feeding chickens to the same thing as teaching kids, but I think if we move to a more time critical, crucial, important model, where it was a critical model, and we were in a system where we go, listen, we're going to do a Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Tuesday, Thursday thing, so that there are never but half the kids here at any given time. They have to sit every other desk. We have to clean the desks after every time they're here. If it became urgency, and we've talked about that before, we did a show on urgency. Yep. I think if we got back to some kind of model where it was urgent, and learning was urgent because we don't know what's going to happen down the road. At any moment, we could find ourselves right back to online learning at full time, instead of actually seeing kids and being with kids and talking to them and being that support that they need. Put an urgency back into it, and maybe a hybrid model would do something like that.
Well, and I think along those same lines, this is not a one and done. The flu is not a one and done. It comes every year. We know it's coming. At this point, we have flu shots, blah, blah, blah. The same thing is going to be for this COVID-19 and or whatever spinoffs, right? We say the flu and we use it generically, but really there's 3, 4, 22, I don't know, however many strands of flu there are, right?
Yeah.
And coronavirus and COVID and whatever other names it's going to get is going to be the same way. So this is not a one and done. And so in terms of the way that I'm thinking the hybrid is going to go, similar to what you're saying, is, let's be prepared for the eventuality that we are not going to be in school, for whatever given period of time, honestly, for whatever reasons. But, in this particular case, for, pandemic type reasons. So such that really, if the system is set up, and by the system, I mean education system as a whole within, ideally as a whole, but realistically, like within, say, a district, within a building, if it were set up such that the system was arranged where the students, they're coming for face-to-face to get that human interaction, to get that, no, we can't be, hugging and high-fiving and handshaking and all that necessarily, but there's still something for being in the same room as other people. Not just virtually, but physically being, we are a social being. We are a social group of people. But to where the hybrid, where there's essentially no transition, it's transparent is the word I'm looking for. It is transparent whether you are in the building physically or you are at home, being able to do that it is transparent. Now, the problem with that, the holdup with that, is that it is blatantly and just as ugly as it can be obvious that cannot happen with the way current technology, access to bandwidth, you name it, is, in lots of places around the United States, especially here in, rural Arkansas, rural America, where, we don't have access to all of that stuff. We have students who are doing paper packets, and even that was a challenge because of, various reasons. So until, just like originally, and I'm going to birdwalk a little bit here, but originally the tax, the fund that was assessed, the fee that was assessed on your phone bill that funds USAC, which ultimately funds E-rate, which is the whole, before E-rate, USAC is what got phones to all the rural people in America. You can't go, as far as I know, you can't go anywhere in America. Maybe there's a couple of pockets, but you can't go anywhere in America and not get a phone service. It's considered a basic human necessity. And yeah, rich places had to, and people who were paying massive phone bills, yeah, they were subsidizing the people who could not get access. It's 2020. The internet has replaced the phone line. That same fee structure needs to be rolled out such that of course, right now, those fees are still there. They're still being collected. They're being funneled through schools and libraries and starting to branch out a little bit. But really, until it gets to the community level, we're not going to have equitable access in order to make even hybrid systems work well for students.
Right. Well, and, USAC is, as we know now lately, taken steps in the last, month to start to handle that a little better, which I'm glad they did. I'm glad they did, and I agree with you 110%. And so I think what that brings to me is the urgency of picking the right platforms, the urgency of picking what we're really going to move forward with and what's going to happen. And I'm not knocking anybody here, but, just picking one little app and, pushing it like it's the savior of everything that's holy, that's great. But what we need now is we need educators, and we need education leaders. We need all those education gurus and evangelists out there that are overwhelming my Instagram stories with podcasts and stuff and pretty pictures and all kinds of, all that kind of great stuff. We need them to step up and build plans. Full engrossing plans, whole programs. If they're as good as I think they are, and the books that they're selling are as great as the conferences are charging $2,000 to see them say they are, then by God, it's time to put their money where their freaking mouths are. Because I need them to tell us what's going to happen. I don't need to sell this app that does this cute thing for social media to a bunch of teachers. I need to tell them, listen, when it goes all online, here's the plan, baby. From morning to noon to after school for 24/7. This is what we're going to use. And these are the people that are going to do it. And I know why they don't, because you got to put your nuts on the chopping block for that one. I mean, you really do. Sorry to get graphic, but you got to put your freaking, like I said, money where your freaking mouth is on that one. And I hope districts take that under consideration and stand up and ask for that stuff. And when they don't get it from somebody and they don't get it solid, I mean solid, yes, we can give you this. Now, I don't expect them to say 100%. Nobody can do 100%. Heck, nobody can do 80, right? So, but I need somebody to say, you're going to get this much done if you do these things.
Right, yeah.
And there's no reason that these companies and these educational gurus don't have that. It's all about data. If I've had data thrown in my face once, I've had it thrown in my face 1,000 times. So use the freaking data. Give me something solid so these school districts can have something to work with. To me, that is what's going to come about, that no matter what happens, 1, 2, or 3, back, half back, or no back, that's what's going to need to happen right there.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. I think the day of educational influencers should be over. It should be the end. That you've had a run. It's been good. You've been you kick out your little pony tricks or whatever. And I'm not pointing fingers, or if I am, I got other ones that are pointing right back at me. We've been just as guilty of doing that with some of the stuff that we've done. But really, we've got to look at ourselves. And as an industry of education influencers, it is time to shift from putting out the touchy-feely, here's the good stuff, just the kind of fluff. And there you go. That's it. It's time to put away the fluff and let's get down to the meat. It is time to move from influencer to producer. And that's exactly what needs to happen. And I think that's what needs to happen in order to help schools open up in the fall.
Oh, I agree 110%. I think that's a great place to leave that. I think we've said enough and we've had our say, and now we shall go back to it. Got
Peas and carrots.
But I do have to say in our defense, we've always just told the stories, or allowed people to tell their stories. That's what we do. You and I we've not sold anything. We've not hawked anything. We've never said this is 110%. You got to do this. This is going to change your school. We're just here to give those people a platform to tell their stories. And I think you and I over 5 years are more than qualified to make the statements that we just made. We've been through it. We've seen a whole lot of stuff, and we've sat and listened intently and asked the questions and let people tell us their stories. And so you and I think, are more than qualified to make the statements that we made.
Well, and I think going forward, if you're out there and you're a current education influencer and you've been on the show or you want to be on the show, this is your fair game warning. We're stepping up the game. I think one of the things that, Jeff and I had kind of actually talked about this before we started this season. We're drawing the line in the sand, and we're going to say, okay, it's great, some of the fluff that you like to put out there, but where's the data? Where's the hard line? What can you show that what you are peddling is actually, making a difference,
viable. Yeah.
I'm to borrow what Jeff said, we're going to be putting your nuts on the chopping block.
Yeah. I mean, that's
welcome to EduTechGuys.
Yeah. I mean, this is and it's funny because we had this conversation in the summer of 2019.
Yeah.
And look what is, we kind of dipped our toe into it. We were a little timid. We tried a couple of times, and then Mother Nature, pandemic viruses in the world went, hey, guess what, boys? You're standing in the door, the chute's on your back, and we're kicking you out. So you better get ready to free fall. And that's exactly what's happened. So I'm excited about it. That's what we're going to do. So when we do turn out podcasts, be prepared, be afraid. Be very
prepared.
Hey, I tell you what, let's take a listen to one of the East updates who might not be with us much longer after we actually do this kind of thing and start talking.
And enjoy it while we can.
We cannot associate ourselves with the EduTechGuys. They've lost their ever-loving minds. But this is an East update. We'll take a listen to it, and once it's done, we'll be right back.
Hello, I'm April Jackson, and this is your East update. This week, we hear from facilitator Wade Ward as he details the mentoring program he and a few upper-class East students started, known as Girls Can Too.
My name is Wade Ward, and I'm the East facilitator at Parson Hills Elementary School in Springdale. I'd like to talk to you about a couple of different programs today. The first will be our Coding Takes Flight program. This is a program created by females for females with the goal of mentoring 3rd through 5th grade female students on the importance of STEM activities as they move forward in their lives. Over the last year, we've had the opportunity to work throughout Springdale Public Schools and have had the fortune of reaching over 1,000 female students in Springdale. This has been a very powerful project, but a project run mostly by upperclassmen in high school. As we looked at this over the last couple of years, we decided that this was not a sustainable option and that we needed to make a slight pivot in what we were doing. So we have now started a program called Girls Can Too. The object of Girls Can Too is to provide female mentors for younger elementary age students. We're looking at ways to create peer mentorships, starting with 3rd, 4th, 5th grade girls, working with younger level girls within their own building or potentially their own peers. This is going to be a little bit different than our Coding Takes Flight program. This is based solely on mentoring. It does have a STEM component, but it's not STEM focused necessarily. This is about providing young ladies opportunities to benefit other young ladies, a way to be a part of each other's lives, a way to help with reading, a way to help with math, a way to help with STEM activities, a way to help with their social and emotional well-being. It's just a chance for our females to get out there in public and help each other. I think that's really important. We're looking at expanding this program throughout Springdale. We've had the opportunity of working with 7 elementary schools in Springdale at the moment, all of which I believe had started a movement of their own within their building before we quit going to school. And we're looking at not only, like I said, expanding this throughout Springdale, but moving this throughout the state and seeing how much traction we can get with it. This is a program that doesn't take any money. It just takes a little bit of time and effort. Mentoring can be done on the tightest budget ever, or you can take a bunch of really cool things and mentor your audience. I think either way is great. We're just looking for those opportunities for girls to feel more integrated into STEM world especially, but just feel more comfortable with themselves and find something that's similar to them that can help them get through those situations.
If you're interested in learning more about Girls Can Too or other projects that East students are completing, visit our website at eastinitiative.org or follow us on social media at The East Initiative. I am April Jackson, and this has been your East Update.
Hey, thank you so much to April Jackson and the East Initiative for providing the update this week. And I'm just going to throw this out there. He asked Nicole about something, but I never heard Nicole, so maybe she got cut out of the episode. I don't know.
Nicole got cut. She's on the mixing room floor. That's where she's at.
I don't know. Poor girl. I don't know what happened there.
I was like, Nicole, Miss Nicole.
I know. That's just like, wait, Nicole. What?
I was like, wait, there's someone else in the room. Dun, dun, dun. You know, that shocked me. No, hey, we want to thank East for always giving us a great update. April Jackson and Matt and the crew. East is a wonderful, wonderful organization. Really hate it for them that they did not get to have their big East convention this year, which is a big deal for them. That's when they give out all their awards and really recognize all the East programs throughout the country. And those kids didn't get that opportunity this year. So they did do a virtual breakout session piece, but I know that's not the same for those kids. But hey, there's always next year, which I know with Matt and the gang at East, it'll be bigger and better.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Next year will be phenomenal. And even if it turns out that we are in a similar situation this time next year, I think, as we've been talking about, earlier in the show, I think the fact that we've seen what this can look like, I think that not just East, but a lot of conferences are going to be much better prepared to monitor and adjust.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I agree 110%. Hey, listen, don't forget to visit us on the web. We're at social media everywhere. Just look up EduTechGuys. You can look into Google, find us, EduTechGuys. And you can always find us at the web at edutechguys.com. You can also go to Amalgamated Toast, AMALGAMATEDTOAST.com. Look at there. Jeff spelt it correctly.
You can read.
Hey, I can read. Actually, I got to tell a story here. I closed my eyes and went, spell it out. You can see the word.
That's right. So, Amalgamated Toast. Amalgamatedtoast.com.
That's our new parent company. We're really excited to be working with them and doing stuff underneath that company and reaching out on other versions of podcasts. Don't forget to take a listen to our other one, The Troubadour Life. The Troubadour Life. And the website for that is thetroubadour.life. You can also find that podcast with the EduTech guys at amalgamatedtoast.com. Boy, there's a lot of .coms and some toasts and some lives.
And some lives. That's right. We got a .com toast life out here. That's what we got.
Hey, I hope you enjoyed this episode. It got my blood pressure up. I can tell you that. So now I'm excited, and I won't sleep well tonight. I'll be tossing and turning.
You're going to feel guilty about all the stuff you said. I know you.
Nah, I'm not going to feel guilty anymore. I said what I got to say, and it's think about that. It's true. You know me. I always think about, I shouldn't have said that. That was just not nice.
I know. That's why I said that.
But right now the people that aren't PC are the ones that are getting stuff done. So, that's what we got to. And you've always been that way. You've always been the guy behind me going, go on, jump.
I'm such a bad influence, or good. I guess it depends on your perspective.
You're actually a good influence. Yeah. You're the actual, solid, let's get stuff done revolutionary. You are a revolutionary, David. That's what you are.
That's what I'm solid as a rock.
You almost got me to sing it, but I'm not going to. No, I'm sorry.
So close.
Where's my Chevy? Okay. Hey, listen, it's been a great show. I hope you've had a good time. I've had a good time. Hey, I'm Jeff Madlock.
I'm David Henderson.
We'll catch you. You know when we'll catch you? Next time.
You've been listening to the EduTech Guys. EduTechGuys.com.